prehensile, it means finger-like. They can pick things up with their tongue. Same way that we use our fingers. They can also clean their own ears, eyes, and nose with it. It's about 18 inches long.
Oh, there it is. In action.
Also, bongo over to our left-hand side, the very top of the hill, kind of orange color animal with the horns.
Look.
Now, bongos, they are known as the ghosts of the forest because they're very shy and highly reclusive. At any sign of danger, they run away. You'll probably never see them again. Both males and females will have the horns. However, males will be a lot darker of a rust color along their neck and their legs.
Here's one over here.
Straight ahead.
Probably greater kudu over to either side of the track. Now, greater kudu, they are one of the taller antelope species. And so bongos, they're one of the shortest. Now, males will not have horns. Males will have horns, but the females will not have any. Now, males are also going to weigh a lot more than the females. They'll weigh about 700 pounds, while females are only going to weigh about 470.
Yeah, could be.
Male and female, in the greater kudu, they'll live in separate groups. So the males will live with other males in groups of about 2 to 10, normally on the smaller side, while the females are going to live in groups of about 6 to 10, normally on the larger side. Looks like a lot of our other friends are using their camouflage skills pretty well, so we're going to keep on going head towards the Sauk River. Now, in the Sauk River, animals are a lot more aquatic, so we're going to keep our eyes to the water as we make our way through. Pink-backed pelicans got their name because their backs turn a bright shade of pink during mating season. That color goes all the way up their cheeks and makes it look like they're blushing. They're what we call a colonial nester. They nest in groups of about 500. They're one of the only pelicans to nest in trees. Now their wings do span about 7.5 to 9 feet wide. It's about the width of the canopy above your head or the length of the seat that you're sitting on.
Wow. Wake up, wake up.
He's like, it's time to wake up.
Those are now hippopotamus over to either side of the track. Hippopotamus means river horse in Latin. That's because they cannot swim. Instead, they're going to walk, run, or bounce on the bottom of the river. They push themselves up whenever they need some air. Now, they can't hold their breath for a pretty long time, several minutes at a time. When you tell them to do that, they have the ability to close their ears and their nostrils. It helps them stay under the water, and it even helps them fall asleep. Now, they can't fall asleep whenever they feel like it. They do not need to wake up to come up for air. Their bodies have a natural reflex. They'll push themselves to the very top, they'll take a breath, and sink all the way back down to the very bottom. And so they're a pretty big animal, about 11 to 15 feet in length. They weigh about 2,500 to 5,000 pounds. Remain seated first, friends.
Yeah. Waterfall. It's not like we zoom in for some reason. Like I can't. It says can't zoom in or out of this
Maybe
mode.
it's too wide. I don't know.
Alright, we're not to mention that there were some now crocodiles seen over in this area as well. So just keep your eyes open for them.
Male crocodiles.
Now, the crocodile, they grow to about 16 feet long. Females are pretty great moms. They take their eggs inside their mouths, roll them around a little bit, and crack them on the inside of their teeth. That's going to help all their eggs hatch. Once their eggs hatch, their babies inside their mouths help protect them from any predators as well as other crocodiles. We say other crocodiles because they're an opportunistic hunter. They're going to stay very quietly, very still, with their mouths open super wide, waiting for their prey to come to them. To help them do that, they have receptors along their entire bodies. Those receptors actually feel the vibrations of the water, so they can feel their prey walking or swimming towards them before their prey will even see them. Now they're also going to have a pretty fancy scale on their back. It's called an osciotor. Osciotors are used to bring heat from the sun straight into their core. That heat is going to go all over through their bodies. It also regulate their body temperature. It also helps them digest any food they've eaten. Now, they can only eat once a month, but they'll need to eat over 300 pounds of food in that single day. So instead, they prefer to eat multiple times throughout the month, once every week. Over to our right-hand side, this is going to be a baobab tree. Now these trees are pretty important to the savanna ecosystem. They store a ton of water inside of their trunks. Animals like elephants and animals with horns will use these trees by piercing inside them. It just helps them get a drink of water during that dry season. Now that's why that tree is called the tree of life. They're also called the upside down tree. They look like they're planted upside down. Now as we make our way down onto the savanna, you're going to notice it's a more wide open space than the little cherry forest was. Here animals will rely on speed and camouflage. But there's also migratory animals. Now that means that these animals will start their day on one side of the savanna. Due to the food and water availability, they'll travel thousands of miles across the other side to find whatever it is they're looking for.
Giraffe.
Right, show your hand. Can you see it? I'm gonna pass it.
Look at those giraffes, how beautiful they are.
Oh, there's one walking.
Zebras over to our right hand side, those are going to be Harts's Mountain Zebras. Harts's Mountain Zebras are pretty unique. They're the only zebras to have a dewlap. So a dewlap is a little piece of extra skin that hangs down from their neck. It helps them regulate their body temperature. They send blood to it, the wind cools it, they circulate it through their bodies. A group of them is called a dazzle. That's because they motion dazzle. So when a predator is nearby, they're going to run in a really fast, really tight-knit circle. Now, circle will confuse the predator. They're not going to know where one zebra starts and another one ends. Now, each of those zebras will have a unique stripe pattern. No two will ever have the same, not even twins. It's a lot like our fingerprints. That's why it's really important when babies are first born. They're going to memorize their mom's stripe pattern within the first 15 minutes of their lives. If you look to the right of the den, you might be able to see a couple of African painted dogs.
Wow.
They're all the way over to that right hand side. Now, African painted dogs, they're the most successful hunters in all of the savannah. That's because they hunt in a pack and in a really fashion. So one dog will take lead. When the first dog gets tired, they go to the back of the pack. A new dog will take over. They'll continue to switch whoever leads that hunt until their prey gives up from exhaustion. A couple of Ankole cattle as well as some sable antelope all the way very back there. Now, Ankole cattle, their horns grow to be about 6 feet long. They have a honeycomb-like structure on the inside of them. That honeycomb-like structure is going to help them to cool down. They send blood through those horns, the wind pulls it, and then they'll circulate it through their bodies just like the zebras use their dewlap. They are not a meat or dairy cattle. Instead, they're a symbol of wealth. So the more of them that you have, the richer you are.
Oh, look at the giraffe is going right to the road. Oh my gosh, he's going to
Come on, Maasai giraffe over to you. Left hand side. Now, Maasai giraffe grows about 18 to 20 feet tall. We can tell that these are them because of their spot pattern. So their spots are more circular and jagged than articulated, has a more square shape and uniform pattern. A group like this is called a tower, and that's because of how tall they are. However, they're only going to have 7 bones in their neck. A lot of people say that they have a lot more. However, the same amount of vertebrae that we have in ours.
That kind of neck.
They use a really long neck to grab onto the very top of the trees, or they use that long tongue to grab onto it. Now that tongue is the same tongue that the okapi have, about 18 inches long. It's about the length of a human forearm. There's also an eland over to our left-hand side. That eland, that was going to be the male. We can tell he's a male because he's about 6 feet tall, just at his shoulders. We can also tell because of his horns. So his horns are shorter and thicker than the females would be. Her horns are going to be a lot longer and a lot thinner. over to your right hand side, you might be able to see a couple of springbok. They're going to be really small, kind of rock-looking animals.
Oh, tiny.
What the hell? No, they only stand about 3 feet tall, yet they can jump about 9 feet high from a standing position and 13 feet across. Means that they can jump up and through the chest. They really felt like it. But of course, beside their name in Afrikaans is jump deer. They're also one of the top 10 fastest land animals. They run at a speed of 55 miles an hour. I have a couple of broken down trees coming up ahead, meaning that we're about to enter elephant country. Elephants have a pretty important job that is knocking over all these trees. The savanna is at risk of deforestation, so knocking over the trees knocks all the seeds out of them and helps to keep it safe and replants it. So hopefully if we're lucky we will find a couple of elephants. Now if you only find one, since it is a male, males like to be solitary or by themselves, while females like to be in groups called family
There
herds.
they are. There they are, right there.
I never seen this.
Look, Lily Lila bear.
Audrey.
Where is Lily Lila?
A couple of elephants beside those two are going to be females. Also, Mandrill over to our left hand side.
Oh, look.
Now that Mandrill, he's going to be the male. He weighs about 100 pounds, while the females on average, they'll weigh about 25. Or if you give him Lion King, is a male Mandrill. And they're the largest monkey in the entire world. They're a monkey because they have a tail. If you ever see a primate and it doesn't have a tail, it means it's an ape.
Elephant.
That's fake.
No, that's real.
They have eyes.
No, he's sleeping. He's taking a little snooze.
That's fake.
No, he moved.
Again, the 3 elephants over to our right hand side means that they
Audrey, he moved his ear. He
females
moved
will
his
live in a
ear.
family herd. There's going to be a matriarch. She's the oldest and the wisest female elephant. She's going to remember every single watering hole that she has been to throughout her entire life. She'll take her family to those watering holes whenever they need to cool down or get a drink, and if not, they end up using those bamboo trees. We're going to head to another watering hole. Hopefully this time we will find one of those male elephants. Even though males like to be by themselves, they do sometimes form what we call a bachelor herd. So bachelor herds are made of the younger males who are just kicked out of their family herd because they reach maturity. An elder is going to come by and will teach them pretty much everything they need to know through sparring. So sparring, again, it's like a form of fighting. You're not fighting to hurt each other. Instead, he's teaching them how to behave around other elephants, protect their territory, and serve their own families. Quite a few more elephants coming up, which means that this is most likely another family herd. Being that unfortunately we can't see one of those males today, but males they do weigh about 13,000 pounds. They're a lot bigger than the females are.
Oh, the baby. Now, unfortunately, elephants, they are in danger. There's a lot of human-elephant conflict happening on the span right now. One of those conflicts is called coltan mining. So coltan is a tiny piece of mineral in everybody's electronics. It's right next to your battery and all of your phones, computers, smartwatches, and tablets. It takes thousands of acres away from the elephants just to mine a tiny piece of it, which is why it is super important to recycle. Recycling those old electronics, it puts that coltan back to circulation, back into our hands. And that's hopefully going to stop the mining that's hurting so many of them.
Flamingo.
Couple of greater flamingo over to our left-hand side. Now, greater flamingo, they're actually the lightest shade of pink out of any of the flamingo species. They're going to hatch gray. They turn pink 1.5 to 2 years after they hatch all the brine shrimp that they eat.
So they turn pink after they hatch 2 years.
Now, the way they get that brine shrimp is by stomping on the ground really, really quickly. It brings it all up to the very top. They're going to take it into their beaks, turn their heads over. There's actually 2 holes at the very top of them that helps them to drain all the water out. They'll then flip their heads back over to continue to eat.
A lot of noise. head well over to our left-hand side, meaning that we're going to keep our eyes open for at least one rhino. Now, rhinos, they love to use them. They roll around in them. They coat their skin. So a lot like sunscreen and bug repellent. Not a rhino, but down the road over to our right-hand side, there is an ostrich all the way to the very back.
Look at this ostrich all the way down there. See it? That's what it is.
Now, that ostrich is a female. We can tell because she's gray. Females are just the black and white ones that all the cartoons say are the girls. They stand about 9 feet tall, run 43 miles an hour. Within just one stride, they'll travel 10 to 16 feet. Also, not the rhinos that we are looking for, but over to our left-hand side, we're going to have a couple of cheetah walking around at the very top of the hill.
I don't.
So that she is going all the way up the very top of that hill. So we're slowly nearby. See if that one comes back down. Cheetahs, they do run about 60 miles an hour. They can reach that speed in just 3 seconds, but they can't hold it for very long. They hold it for about the length of a football field before they drop down, eventually give up on that hunt.
Move back so Ben can see. Joe went so Ben can see.
No, I see it.
See it, Ben?
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, look, there's another one over there. Oh, there's another one right here.
They are not considered a big cat. That's because they cannot roar. Instead, they're going to chirp, purr, or meow, just like our cats at home do, making them the largest felines.